Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of November 12th to the 18th. Today is Saturday, November 18th. So this week was another stressful week. It was my last week before I go on my annual vacation. So I am currently on vacation. This is day 2 of my vacation, and so I'm kind of still in that winding down from all of the stress phase of my vacation. Some other things happened this week, but I'll catch you up towards the end of the video. But I did finish a couple of books. I knitted on a couple of projects. So let's get into it. So let's start off with what I finished reading this week. So this week was supposed to be the Monochrome Manga Club meeting because our normal day would have been on Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, I did have to cancel that meeting because something came up with my mother, and so we didn't actually have our meeting in store like we had planned, but we have been chatting about the selections in our Discord. So if you're interested in talking about these volumes, you can definitely join our Discord and do so. We will also not be having an in-person meeting in December, so we will be doing our meeting online, and you can definitely chat with us in the threads for our December selections as well. The Monochrome Manga Club Series First Impressions video will be going up soon. So if it's not already out, it'll be out shortly. But the 2 selections that I had talked about in those videos were Volume 1 of Laid Back Camp by Afro. This one's published by Yen Press, rated teen. And Volume 1 of Tokyo Aliens by Naoe. This one's published by Square Enix Manga, rated older teen. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts on these 2 volumes, definitely check out my series First Impressions video. And then we also finished volumes 9 and 10 of Persona 4, as well as volumes 16, 17, and 18 of Fullmetal Alchemist. So let me tell you my thoughts on Persona 4 first. I know I told you that because of what was on the front of this volume, I kind of knew what was coming up. So I was very interested to read these 2 volumes, and it definitely was what I thought. I have seen the anime adaptation. I have watched my daughter play some of the gameplay. And so I'm kind of familiar with the story in a general sense. And I really enjoyed these volumes. Now, there were definitely some fan servicey moments, there was some hijinks and hilarity, but I think part of that is to liven up the mood from all of the serious stuff that's going on, especially now as we're heading towards the end of the series. Things are starting to fall into place. Things are getting a lot more serious involving the murder mystery that's been going on throughout this series. And things are obviously coming to a head as far as that investigation goes. So really, really enjoyed these volumes. I did laugh out loud a couple of times. But I think that, there are definite times for the hijinks and hilarity, because we kind of also need to see that these kids are kids. They're teens. We don't really see them much outside of the whole investigation process and going into the television world and things like that. And so those times that we see them just being high school students interacting with their peers, I think is needed not only for the upliftment of the tone of the series, but also just to show us them being kids. And so, yes, there were some serious stuff that happened in here as well, especially towards the end of Volume 10. And I'm really, really looking forward to finishing out this series in December. That's right, we will be finishing this series in December. There are only 3 volumes left in the series. And I thought instead of carrying it over for just one more volume into next year, that we would just finish up this series in December and start a brand new series at the beginning of the year. So that's what we will be doing. Don't know what that series is going to be yet. We are still discussing it, but I'm really looking forward to completing this series as well. And so that was those 2 volumes. And then we also continued Fullmetal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa, published by Viz, rated teen. This again, really interesting stuff. I have seen both anime adaptations, so I'm pretty familiar with this story. As always, a highlight for me with this, the Armstrong family picture where we see all the Armstrong children. We're getting a lot more time with the older sister, Armstrong, and she has a bazooka in this volume, and I really, really enjoyed that. She's definitely a force to be reckoned with. I'm enjoying her character a lot. There are a couple different things going on here, and I'm just really enjoying watching Ed and Al go through this. The stakes are getting much higher, and, you know, certain personal feelings are starting to come out in regards to maybe some romantic interests and things like that. The danger level is definitely a lot higher as we get further on into this series as well, and just really, really enjoying this journey. So yes, looking forward to the next volume on that as well. And I did also finish a couple of other things this week among the Monochrome Manga Club selection. So I finished listening to Solo Leveling Volume 5 by Chugong. This one is published by Yen On, rated ages 16 and up, so that is teen. So I am listening to this entirely on audiobook. It's narrated by Ki Hong Lee, who played Minho in the Maze Runner series. I'm really, really enjoying his narration, and so I've decided to just go ahead and listen to the series, even though I do own, I think, all of it at this point. But this is definitely going to be a series that has rereadability for me. I am really enjoying this series. So in this one, stakes are still high here. There are a lot of political things going on. Definitely a lot less of Jinwoo-sung kind of being conceited, which is an issue that I had in the fourth volume. Is definitely more self-centered in that volume. In this one, it wasn't as much. He's starting to learn things about this whole like leveling up process, and some things arise that he didn't realize were happening as he's been leveling himself up. So it's really interesting to me to see him come to these realizations and trying to figure those out. I much prefer him in that mode as opposed to the "I'm so handsome" type of Jinwoo-sung that we saw in volume 4. And so I'm enjoying this one still. I enjoyed this volume a lot more than I would say volume 4, but I'm still really enjoying this series on a whole. So we'll be continuing with that one, but I did need to take a break because I had gotten 2 audiobooks released to me within days of each other after being on hold for over a month, I think, at the library. So I started with the one that I had gotten first, and that is Stalking Around the Christmas Tree. This is the 4th book in the Christmas Tree Mystery series by Jacqueline Frost. If you know, I have been reading this series, I think, almost every year, except one year there wasn't an installment. So we started reading this series for Book One Cozy's Club, which was the first in a series cozy mystery book club that I had ran for 5 years, a few years back. We are no longer doing Book One Cozy's Club as a book club, like an active book club, but I do still use the term because it is kind of like, you know, my thing when I talk about first in series cozy mysteries. And so there are several series that we have read throughout those 5 years that Book One Cozy's Club was in existence that I have continued. There are some that I haven't continued but still have interest in continuing. But there are several that I have continued. And this is one of those series that I have. Predominantly because it is like a Christmas themed cozy mystery series. So this particular series follows a woman named Holly. And I believe at the beginning of the series, she moves home because something goes wrong with her engagement and she ends up breaking the engagement or having the engagement broke. I can't remember what happened, but she is no longer engaged to that guy and ends up moving back home. And her family runs this Christmas tree farm. That's why it's called the Christmas Tree Farm Mystery Series. And at this Christmas tree farm, they don't only sell Christmas trees. They have these things called reindeer games, and it's pretty much like little events and things that people who come to the farm can participate in. So there's a lot of games, there's baked goods, and, you know, just like a grand old time hanging out with people, enjoying festivities. And that's kind of what really like keeps me coming back to this series, is that whole feeling. It definitely puts me in that festive spirit. I immediately feel like, you know, festive, and it gives my like mood a little bit of an uptick. And the town and all of the people in it, they're just like really like lovely. And they come together for each other several times throughout this series. And I just really, really enjoy it. So anyway, we follow Holly, and she, as with most amateur sleuths, ends up finding herself mixed up in investigations of murders, right? So we're in our 4th book. Things are getting festive in town. It's close to Christmas. And the ballet company has come to the town to perform the Nutcracker. And there is this big, like, thing going on because they haven't had an event like this, and it had to be, like, petitioned for, and it took a lot of work to get them to come to the town. And so, you know, everything's great. They're getting ready for the performance, and then the main prima ballerina, I think that's what they call them, gets murdered. And so Holly ends up getting really curious and trying to, you know, as most amateur sleuths do, stick their nose into places that they shouldn't be. And at this point in the series, Holly is helping with the family's like lodge that they had added to the Christmas tree farm operations. And so there's her, you know, kind of learning how to be a lodge keeper. And she's got something going on in her personal life as well that's pretty big and taking up a lot of time. And then there's this thing that's like eating at her, right? There's this mystery that she just has to figure out on her own, even though her love interest is the chief of police and tells her not to do so. She, of course, as with most amateur sleuths, can't keep her hands out of the investigation. So we're pretty much following Holly trying to figure out what happened to the prima ballerina. And if I'm not mistaken, the prima ballerina is named after somebody here on YouTube. I think I heard that the Beach Bum Bookworm's like bucket list thing was to be killed off by a cozy mystery writer, and I believe that has happened. So yeah, it was really interesting, and I'm really, really glad that happened for her. And so I would have definitely read the series because of that, but I had already been in this series already, and it's a series that I do enjoy. But that was just like one extra perk to coming to this release. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definite times where Holly's investigative style does not work for me, and it didn't bother me as much in this particular volume, but I do remember it bothering me a lot in the 3rd installment. She's just not very suave at her line of questioning. Like, there are amateur sleuths out there who can work their way into conversations suavely and get the answers that they want. And then there are amateur sleuths that just have to come out and ask directly. And I don't like that type of amateur sleuth, but that's the type of amateur sleuth that Holly is, especially in this volume. There are even times where there are people that she's questioning, and they know that she wants to question them, and they don't want to answer her questions because she's not, you know, she's not a police officer. But at the same time, they're like so just irritated. They're like, just ask your questions and be done with it already. You know, and that's not enjoyable for me to read. It's not not something that I enjoy. I would much prefer someone who is able to suavely sneak in their questions during a normal conversation or find a way to ask that's not so obvious. Holly is definitely one of those amateur sleuths that asks in an obvious fashion. And I think because her love interest is the chief of police, she kind of feels entitled to certain bits and pieces, entitled to check out scenes that she shouldn't be checking out and things like that. And so there are little things like that that bother me. But the overall feel of this series is something that I really enjoy. The also like way the town kind of gets together and helps out each other is something that I really enjoy. We've seen large gestures of the town getting together in the third and fourth volumes. I can't remember too much at this point if it happened in the first and second because it's been a while. I believe we read the first book in this series, like our second year or our first year of Book One Cozy's Club. I think it was the second though. Because I think we started with the year-round Christmas mystery series by Vicky Delaney, which is one that I am behind on, and I really do want to get caught up with that series this year, especially because another installment has come out now after being on hiatus for a while. But this one also had a little bit of a hiatus, and so I'm really glad to be back with these characters, back in this town, and it's just really, really nice. And so I definitely recommend the Christmas Tree Farm Mystery Series by Jacqueline Frost. If you're into cozy mysteries and want a little bit of holiday cheer with a little side of murder, I definitely enjoy this one. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I don't think I remember telling you that I gave Solo Leveling 4 stars as well. And so that's everything that I finished reading this week. I have not yet read any more of My Happy Marriage, so I won't be talking to you about that at all. And I will be ready to start my other audiobook this week, I think. I think that's the plan. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't have any other books that I'm in the middle of at the moment, so kind of feels like a nice complete week because I don't have anything really hanging over that I was actively working on this week, because I didn't touch My Happy Marriage at all this week because I was so focused on the Monochrome Manga Club selections and stuff like that. So yes, really, really good. I'm very happy with what I've gotten read so far this month. And I'm doing pretty good on my light novel November. I've gotten 3 light novels done so far. I'm working on my 4th. So I'm hoping to have at least 6 of them done by the end of this year. And I think I can get that done, especially with me being on vacation, but we will see. Normally when I'm on vacation, I do like to watch certain things on television. And so I'll need to make time for that. But yes, I do also have some lofty plans, especially because my Yarn Advent Calendar will start opening this coming Saturday, the 25th. So the Yarn Advent Calendar I purchased is actually a Halloween Yarn Advent Calendar. And so it is a 31-day Advent Calendar. So I've got 31 packages. So in order for me to end on December 25th, which is Christmas, I will need to start opening those packages on November 25th. If I've done my calculations correctly, that is what will happen. Now this year I am planning on doing a knit project throughout my openings of the Advent yarns. So hopefully I'll be able to keep up with that, but because I am planning on doing that, there are a few things that I need to do before that happens. So one of those things is getting the yarn wound up for my swatch. Now because I won't be opening the packages until the 25th, I needed another yarn to use for swatching. And for those of you who may not yarn craft, a swatch is a small piece of fabric that you knit or crochet to figure out what your gauge is so that you end up with the right size garment. And so I had opened an advent calendar from Found Girl Fibers last year, which was the 31 Days of Disney Villains, I think. That was also a Halloween advent, which I haven't used yet. But I figured the yarn is from the same company. It's the same base. I should be able to swatch that and get the right gauge for her yarn. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking one of the skeins from that advent calendar and using that to swatch along with my Gray Smoke, I think, colorway from Yarn Cafe Creations, which is going to be my main color for the sweater that I will be working on. Now that is also hand dyed, but I don't think that I'm going to be alternating skeins. This is something that I've kind of been thinking about for a bit, and those of you who knit that watch me, definitely let me know your thoughts on this, because I think with the pattern that I chose, which is the Rainbow Ring sweater pattern by Stephen West, the stripes are so tiny that I don't think that alternating skeins will do anything. I think if I just knit straight and add in the skeins as I go, I don't think any differences in the shading of the main color is going to hinder the look of my project any, because of all of the color that's going to be going in with all of the advent skeins. So my plan is to not alternate skeins, but let me know if you think that I should. I think each row for the sweater is only 3 rows, so it's not a lot. And like I said, with all of the colors that will be going on in the sweater, because I don't believe there are going to be solids in this advent calendar. I think they're all going to be variegated yarns. And I think because of all of the color that's going to be going on in the rows, that it's not going to make a difference if there's a difference in the colors of the main color skeins. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. I would really love some feedback, because sometimes what I think is not like right. But if you think I should alternate skeins, definitely let me know. But yeah, with that being said, let's segue on into knitting. So I have 2 projects to share with you this week. One of them I was working on because of something that hooks on into the life update section. But let's start off with the Mostly Ghostly, which is the one that you've seen the most. So this is a large sweater at this point. Mostly Ghostly. This is a pattern by Megan Regan of Bad Wolf Girl Studios. This is in her Fall Favorites collection. As you can see, I have started on the sleeve. There's not much there. There is not much there. But that means that I did bind off the bottom of my sweater. And you can see it is very, very large. This is what I wanted. It's a nice A-line drape. And so, yes, I think this is going to be very, very comfy. And so, yes, now I am working on adding that first sleeve. I'm having a little bit of trouble with some gapping in the armhole here, where I put the sleeves on hold when I was first working on it. I always have this problem. I can never figure out how to close it up. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it just looks like the stitches are like gaping. I don't know if it's just because of where I am right now with the, sleeve kind of pulling on this area. I mean, like I said, it doesn't really look bad. I may go in and double stitch the stitches after, when I'm weaving in the end of the skein that I added for the sleeve, just to make that section a little bit more thick and so it's not so see-through. But for the size that I was doing, it said to not cast on any extra stitches for the underarm. And when I put the sleeve back on needles, it also said not to add on any stitches when you add that on. So obviously that would have left a hole. But I did add in a couple just to close up that gap a little bit. I picked up a couple in the underarm. And so it did close it up a little bit, but it's still a little, the stitches just look really big in that section. So yeah, I will probably take the tail of the yarn and double stitch or duplicate stitch the underarm stitches just to get it a little bit more a thicker fabric under there. But there's no holes. It's all stitches. There's no holes. It's just the yarn looks really stretched out right there. So yeah, like this one right here. That's a stitch. That is a stitch. And so yeah, I need to figure out something. But I mean, if you're looking at it from this way, you know, where I'd be wearing it, you probably wouldn't even see this section right here because my arm would be down. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot to think about, but I'm just going to get the sleeves done and then we'll worry about any holes under the arm afterwards. But yes, good progress on that. I did about 19 inches from the underarm to the end of the sweater. And so yeah, it's nice. It's a nice length. And like I said, it's going to be really nice and comfy. And so I'm very, very happy right now. I am using short or flexible double points from Denise interchangeable needles. These are plastic. I do enjoy these. They're a nice bargain brand needle set. And I especially like the DPNs for sleeves or hats or anything that's small circumference. I prefer this method as opposed to magic loop for this, because then I only have to like flip back and forth like this as opposed to having the long cord and all of that. Plus I find that sometimes with magic loop I get like a seam, but with these I don't seem to get that. So yeah, I don't know, these are just much more comfortable. Plus they're so compact, I don't have to worry about any long cords or anything. I really enjoy the Denise interchangeable flexible DPNs. So that was one project. So the second project I have in this bag. This is my retro 80s cartoons bag. You can probably see some familiar faces there. You might recognize this bag. I have a long-standing project in here that I haven't worked on in a bit. And the reason for me working on this was that my mom went back into the emergency room this week. So I needed to pull a project really fast. And my immediate thought was to not take the Mostly Ghostly because it's so big at this point. And with the sleeve, I have to keep doing decreases to get a nice tapered sleeve down the arm so that it's not like bulky, like I'm not going for this type of like bell sleeve look. I'm going for a more tapered like sweatshirt type arm. And so there are decreases and you need to pay a lot more attention, mark your decreases so that you know how many decreases to do so you can mirror it on the other side and so forth. So I knew that was not going to be an option. I tried to pick up a sock, but for some reason, all of the socks that I have on the go right now all have one side done and the second side is not cast on. So when I cast on socks, I actually cast on to a bigger needle and then do the smaller needle afterwards so I can get a nice stretchy opening to the sock. So that would mean that I have to carry 2 pairs of needles, and it was too much. So I wanted a project that I could just go round and round and round without having to think too much. And so I picked up this one. So this is another sweater project that I've had on the go for a while. I really need to finish this because I am loving how it looks. This is my Love Note. Love Note is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. And I am just in love with the color of this sweater. And it's going to be so lovely. But I'm at that point down here where I'm just going round and round and round and round. And so this was perfect. Perfect. I didn't do very much though. It was the end of a work day and there was just a lot of things going on with my mom, and so I was here last time, and so I did, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. I did 8 rows. I am alternating just the mohair. So the mohair is like this. That's one skein. Here's the second one. So the mohair is from Lolo Did It in her Molo base, which is her mohair base. This, I believe, is Honeyduke's colorway. And I have 3 skeins of this. So currently I am working just these 2, and I am alternating just these 2 skeins. The reason I'm alternating just those 2 skeins is because I have a cone of yarn. So this is the main color yarn that I'm holding double with the mohair. This is from Brown Sheep Company. This is their Nature Spun Fingering. It's just 100% wool in the color Hurricane Seas 135F. This is a 1 pound cone of yarn. I don't think it says what the yardage is on it, but it's over 1,000 yards. I am pretty sure. This is a really, really great deal for the money, at least in my opinion. And so, yes, I am using this for this sweater. So that's why I'm not alternating the regular yarn, because that's a cone. And so, yeah, I have quite a bit to go on the body. I'd say I have about 6 or 7 inches so far, maybe more. I'm not good with estimating how much I have, but I would say at least 9 more inches to go on the body. I usually go about 19 inches from the underarm to the end. But yeah, so far so good. Round and round and round we go. I think this is going to be the next sweater that I work on after the Mostly Ghostly. But as I mentioned already, I will be doing an Advent sweater project throughout the rest of the year, or at least through December. I don't know where I'm going to be. It's kind of like a mysterious adventure, because I don't know what the colors are going to look like. And so, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting project, but I foresee that I will be picking this up again probably next year in 2024, as well as the Mostly Ghostly, because the Advent sweater project should take up a good portion of my knitting time in December. So, yeah, I'm going to get started on that on Saturday. So that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm feeling a little bit of pressure because, you know, I got to do that swatch and make sure that my gauge is correct, or figure out, like, you know, what needles I need to use. If my gauge doesn't come out, I might have to swatch a couple of times. And so, yeah, swatching is always one of those things. It's like you have to do it, but it's a pain in the butt. So I'm kind of at that moment. So I plan to do that probably on Monday, which would be the 20th. And so we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to try to enjoy my vacation. With everything that's going on, I just kind of really need that vacation this year. Like, I need to de-stress a lot, especially with, you know, everything that's going on with my mom, and the fact that my coworker is having her knee replaced and won't be around to help out with our major workload that we have in December. I'll also need to learn a couple of things that she does, as far as things that I don't normally deal with that she does, like accounting, which I don't do accounting, not for other people, you know, just for myself. But, like, there are certain procedures and things as far as billing in the system for our clients that I need to learn so that I can do that while she is recovering from her surgery. And so, yeah, there's just a lot. There's just a lot. I'm trying not to think about it. This is the time where I just de-stress, relax, enjoy. And so, yeah, I'm just like coming down from the high stress at this moment. So I guess that brings me to the life update section. So like I said, my mom went back into the ER on Thursday. She had a doctor's appointment. The doctor is useless, but the doctor did not look at my mom's chart from when my mom was in the hospital, really has no idea what's going on with my mom, and told her that she didn't have time to read her chart. But she thinks my mom's having a heart attack, so she needs to go to the ER. So she was more than happy to send my mom off to the ER, but not look at the chart and figure out exactly what had happened when my mom went into the hospital. Because, of course, when my mom went into the hospital, she was on vacation. I don't know about you, but to me, I would think if I was a doctor and I was on vacation and you find out one of your patients has been in the hospital, the first thing you do is make sure you read that chart. But no, that's not what she did. And apparently, even though my mom had made the appointment to say that she wanted to discuss her hospital stay, what had happened, the diagnosis, the side effects of her medication, no, the doctor didn't have time. And the doctor doesn't have time. And so my mom ended up going to the ER. She spent 12 hours, more than 12 hours there. Her doctor's appointment was at 9:30, and I think she had been in the ER at 10:30, something like that. And she was there until 11 p.m. And they were just trying to figure out what was wrong. She didn't have a heart attack, but she does have another medication. They don't know what caused her chest pain. And so, yeah, but it was not a heart attack. And so now we're kind of in the process of dealing with everything that had happened with that. She had a referral to go to a cardiologist, and that was just canceled, and we don't know why. Her doctor was supposed to make a follow-up appointment to figure out what had been happening after the ER visit, and that hasn't been scheduled yet. And so it's just a lot of like irritation. It's a lot of stress. And I am losing faith in the medical system. I have not had good experiences with doctors my entire life. And just everything that's going on right now just makes me lose faith in doctors now, especially the ones that are dealing with my mom at the moment. I just have so many questions that they don't want to answer, and I don't know why. To the point where my mom was even asking questions at her appointment, and the doctor just walked out and didn't answer them. And it's like, that's not professional. It's not professional. And so I'm trying to get my mom's doctor changed. My mom's still not like, I don't think she's fully recovered. I mean, we went to go grab groceries yesterday because obviously there's a holiday coming up, right? And even though we don't do family get-togethers, we do celebrate just, my household. So we get like special foods and things. So we did that yesterday. And my mom is out of breath. She has chest pains. She can't walk for more than 20 feet without getting out of breath with chest pain. And that's not normal. She wasn't like that before she went into the hospital. So she's obviously not recovered. But her doctor says, oh yeah, you're fine. You can go back to work. And my mom works retail. And it's the busiest time of year in retail. And there's a lot of customers. There's a lot of things that need to be done. But she said, oh yeah, you're fine. And I'm like, she's not fine. She's not fine. So I don't know. My mom was supposed to go back to work on Wednesday. I thought it was Black Friday, but it was Wednesday. In light of the fact that my mom was in the ER this week, they have taken her off the schedule for the next week, but she's supposed to go back to work. So I don't know what's happening. That's another thing. I don't like when things are up in the air, and that's what is happening right now. Everything is up in the air because we don't have any solid answers. And I hate that. I hate that. That's like one of the worst things for me is not knowing and not having a clear plan, and people who don't listen to me. And all of those things are happening right now. And so, yeah, it's just been a lot. It's been a lot. And so we're just trying to work through that. So first thing is to get my mom's doctor changed. If she can't do that, at least get a second opinion. Because I don't think she can go back to work yet. I don't think she's ready. I mean, if she can't walk 10 feet without having chest pain and getting winded, how is that ready to go back to work? I don't, especially retail where you're on your feet the entire time. So, yeah, there's just a lot of things that need to be done. And so I'm glad that I'm off right now because at least I don't have to worry about work while we deal with that. But it's still a lot. It's still a lot. And, you know, I do have my brother, but he can't do anything. He can't help. Nobody can help. So it's kind of just all falling on my immediate family, my mom, my daughter, myself. And it's a lot. It's a lot. But trying to just take one thing at a time, which is not something that I normally like to do. I'm trying not to stress about it, which is another thing that I normally don't do. But there's a lot. There's a lot. We still don't have answers. And it just seems like everything is just like, here, just take another medication. Here, just take another medication. Here, just take another medication. And I kind of feel like that's how my grandmother ended up with a gallon-sized Ziploc bag full of medications at the end of her life. And I don't want that to be where my mom gets to. Do you know what I mean? Because even with what she has right now, it's a lot. I feel like that's like the theme of this week. It's a lot. And so, yeah. Other than that, I'm really looking forward to starting my Advent journey. I got a surprise package from my friend Vanessa over at Crafty Planting Life podcast. She sent me another Advent, which I'm so grateful for. It came on Thursday, which is a day that everything was just like coming down for me. Being my last day in the office with my mom in the ER and everything going on and no answers and everything. To get that package was just so lovely. Definitely the highlight of my day, if not my month. And so thank you very much, Vanessa, for sending me that. I'm looking forward to opening that starting December 1st. I will be starting to open my 31 Guests of the Haunted Mansion, or is it Residents? I think it's 31 Residents of the Haunted Mansion yarn advent calendar from Fangirl Fibers starting on Saturday, November 25th. And so my Vlogmas videos will actually start from the 26th. So I'll start filming all of that. I will open my advent calendar yarn with you on my next Disis19 Diaries. But after that, I will have my yarn openings every day filmed for you. And those will also go into my Disis19 Diaries every week. So that's going to be my Vlogmas. It'll still say Vlogmas on the videos, but they're technically my Disis19 Diaries. I'll just be adding the openings of the Advent calendars with you and then showing you my progress on the Advent sweater that I'm planning on working on. I'll still be sharing with you my reads, my thoughts on my reads, any other knitting progress I have, and life updates. So if you're interested, definitely keep watching. It's a crazy time of the year, but it's also the most fun time, especially on YouTube with everybody doing Vlogmas and holiday plans and holiday projects, and it's just a lot of fun. And so I'm really looking forward to it, and I really need it, especially this year. So let me know down in the comments below how you're doing, how your week went. Did you have a really enjoyable read this week or a really terrible one? I'd love to know. Do you have any holiday plans for Advent or Vlogmas or anything else like that? Do you have any Advent calendars that you open? I would really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a rain cloud emoji. We did have some rain this week. It is my favorite thing And so if you could leave me that rain cloud emoji, I would really appreciate it down in the comments below. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.